Hughes Sports Podcast. We're taking the lead, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down. Discussing every win and every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
We are live with episode 101 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how the hell are you doing today?
Why do you always have to say it like that?
Because I'm in the process of doing things and my brain can only do so many things at a time. So if I slow it down, it makes you slow down, which allows me to finish what I'm doing.
It just makes me giggle every time. And it's every week for 101 weeks now. It's the old man. How are you doing?
It's like the cadence in my head. It's how I make sure everything's going through.
Folks, it's because I blame his mother.
You can blame whatever you want.
His mother did crack when she was pregnant. I hope she's not listening. That could get me in trouble. It's a joke, people. I'm a comedian.
You're something.
What a week we're gonna have. What a show. I'm looking forward to this one. Lots of CFL talk tonight.
Yes, lots and lots of CFL talk. And the reason for that is we have friend of the show. My voice is going to go on me. I can feel it already. I apologize to everyone. Reid Johnson of the MarkCast. Reid, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm no good. How are you guys?
If I was any better, they'd have to make me twins. Damn it. Any time I get a chance to talk CFL in the off season, it's a joy. It's just one of those oh crap, Jake, your mom was listening. It is because we even in Canada, I mean, you're down in the States. We don't, once the season ends, we don't hear about it again unless there's a trade or something big that happens. We don't get a lot of coverage because of course the NHL takes over. And so we don't hear anything for the CFL until training camp, really, when it becomes bigger again.
Yeah.
Do you get anything down there?
Well, no, absolutely not at all. We don't get anything in the States that way. We got to reach up. But I feel like it's been a pretty eventful off season. I mean, right. We have the quest for the commissioner. We're waiting on the schedule. We've had the quarterback swaps and everything. I mean, it's been, in the I guess it'd be 4.5 years now, whatever, covering the CFL, we've done I think that it's, to me, it's the most, newsworthy kind of off seasons in recent memory. I mean, I know we've done the labor strikes and stuff like that, but it's been good. I mean, there's been enough stuff. We haven't been going on a lot, post Grey Cup, but I feel like if we were devoted every week to, to really if this was the thing we were trying to do more than just kind of having fun and doing everything. Yeah. I think there'd be enough to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Especially this year with, like you say, I call it the quarterback carousel.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's over yet. I think there's going to be more moves being made. Big names too. I think there's going to be some big trades happening. I know, as you know, we're out in Calgary and VA came out here and he came out and said, I'm a recruiter. Where I go, people want to be there. Which when he said it, he's usually such a humble guy. And when I read that quote, I was like, ooh, you tell him VA.
He got a raw deal. So, I mean, we all know, and my opinions of the Nathan Rourkes of the world are far known. But, he lost his job. He was never given the opportunity to get it back. I would feel very slighted. I mean, the same way that he filled in the other way around. I would get that he would be upset about it. And I hope he plays pissed off in a good way. And I think that it's a great motivator, right, to prove them wrong.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? If there's a team that needs a VA, it's Calgary. I mean, they need something for sure.
I believed in Jake Mayer. I did. And I was
Did
wrong.
you?
I did. I had him on. I said, I want to have you on before you're the big star. I want, you're going to be the next big face of Calgary. And then, I swung wrong on that one. So I did try.
We had season tickets up till last season, probably for 8 years, almost 9. No, it was over 9 years. And we gave them up just because that stadium is Jake and I went to a game and we went out to get a hot chocolate. It was a late August game, but it was cold. It's Calgary. That happens.
Yeah.
And we left right at halftime. We stood in line to get a hot chocolate, and then we came back. I think there was 4 minutes into the third quarter.
Yeah.
It's just such an inadequate stadium. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And now they're getting the Grey Cup.
You're getting the Grey Cup. There you go. I know. I mean, at least they'll dress it up, right? I mean, they'll do some odd. I mean, it's not going to be world class, but
No.
they'll have time to dress it up.
I was actually talking to the president, Jay McNeil, and he was saying they're going to spend a lot of money on the concourse, and because they have to. I mean, they have porta potties. They literally, during regular season, there's porta potties brought in so you can go to the washroom. Sad.
That's
But
crazy.
I want to back up. Let's tell people about the MarkCast. How did it start? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so we were Seattle, Washington was part of the original slot of the XFL 2020 teams that came out, when they announced that back in 2018, and we're wrestling fans and we know all about XFL 01. And, I think in like middle school, but, I lived through kind of all of that. And so we were part of it. We were season ticket holders, and we were fans here. My buddy Paul lived in LA, so he had a team in LA, and I had a team. And we were just fans. We went to the kickoff. We were just football people. And then when the league went away, that's when I really got into the NFL and then ultimately the CFL and everything. Like I covered sports. Like I worked at the Fox station here. So like I did the Super Bowl run, like the whole Broncos thing with the Seahawks, and then the whole thing with the Patriots and all of that, those sorts of things. But I never really like watched anyone but the Seahawks. And through the XFL, I was like, well, I can kind of watch all these, I can watch the, whatever, the Raiders games, whatever in the fall. And so when the XFL got bought out of bankruptcy by The Rock and Danny Garcia, I do podcasting for my real work. And so I said, well, hey, Paul, let's start a podcast so we can start talking about XFL. 2 years later, they start having conversations with the CFL, talking and all of that. And so we ended up, becoming very embroiled with a lot of the CFL media members, getting their opinions on the show about everything. And I mean, we could post an episode every other day and you would just get thousands of views because it was everyone that anyone was talking about. So that's when we really got big. And then when the talks didn't happen, we kind of had to put our money where our mouth was and actually talk about the CFL. So that's when we started watching it. And, because then we felt like we would be kind of shameless just to hop in and then kind of hop out. And so, yeah, then we started enjoying it and it's been fun.
That's cool. Now we met at the Grey Cup. I got it right this time. This last year, you were by far the busiest guy on Radio Row. You had more guests lined up. You were just, it was cool to watch. And it was funny when I got home, I said to Jake, there's a guy, Reid Johnson is a guy we need to get on the show. He was, for someone coming up from the States, has no connection to the game. You were I think the most connected. And I have to say this, besides Rod and I, because of course I'm down there with the Rod Peterson show.
Of course.
And how much planning did that take to get that many guests for the Grey Cup?
So the first year we did it, we did the Hamilton post-COVID year. So that was the 21. And I really had no idea. And so I said, well, we're going to rent a house. We rented a house to stay out at Lake Ontario there, I think. We were going to have people come out and do the show. And so I was kind of trying to figure it out. And I realized very quickly that everyone's actually working during CFL week, like anyone I want to talk to. So no one's like gonna take a taxi out to this like picturesque, because I have it in my mind, right? We're gonna have this whole like, I'll bring because I do videography for like my real job. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna have this set and I can bring people in. And they're like, we don't have interest in doing that. So we found one of our listeners had given us a bar in Hamilton, the George Hamilton. And I mean, I can go into that. Was a crazy catastrophe, but we got it through it. There was a lot of like, I basically had to hotspot the whole thing on my cell phone because the internet that they promised was like for the ATM and it was like a dial-up internet speed.
Oh,
so
no.
like this doesn't anyway, but I had, through the process of doing the XFL CFL merger stuff, we had made connections with all the reporters. And so that's, we do player interviews on the show, and obviously big names, and like we've had Vernon on, and Nathan Rourke and Randy, Ambrosi, everyone else, but like player interviews are not always like for our audience the best, right? Like it's great to get 10-12 minutes with them, but it's kind of like, especially like mid-season stuff, like we play good, we keep our head up, okay, whatever. So we've always just focused on more of the media side of talking about the games, previewing the games, all that stuff. So I had amassed kind of all these CFL reporters, and so I kind of set it up the first year and figured out. So now it's like clockwork because everyone's done it. So most of our people have done it the last couple years. So I basically just email them like the week before, once we know who the teams are, like, okay, hey, we're coming. And now we are in with the BC Lions, so it's easy. We don't have to worry about like a random internet connection somewhere. So we're like we're in all the media stuff, because that first year we weren't part of the media. We didn't know where the media hotel was. We didn't know anything. And I just kind of figured it out. And Paul, my co-host, his grandparent passed away like the week before, so he couldn't even make it. So it was like Dorothy and I just running around with like our heads, hair on fire. So anyway, so now it's a lot more. Yeah. So it feels polished now, but that's been 4 iterations of trying to do that. But yeah, everyone knows the deal now.
Well, it's funny because after being down there with Rod and being able to have the press pass and seeing all the behind the scenes, Jake and I went to the Grey Cup for the first time in Edmonton as fans. But now seeing it behind the scenes, I said to Jake, as soon as I got home, our goal has to be in Winnipeg for 2025. And we're going to, one way or another, even if we have to do what you did your first year, we're going to be in Winnipeg.
Well, and everyone's been so inviting, right? And that was the thing, because we got credentialed for the first year, but like we didn't know any of the like shuttles and where you could, like, we just didn't know anything. And so everyone, like, even like all of this stuff with Ted Wyman and everything, like he was one of the first guys. I mean, that really hit Dorothy hard with his passing, because he was like one of the first guys that showed us around, because we had, it was all those media guys being cool, right? And being like, oh, come here and do this, or do that, or you guys, and now everyone like, oh, you should go. And now, oh, we got to do the Spirit of Edmonton. Okay, we got to go do the Atlantic Schooners. Or, you don't know any of that. You rely on people, and they're great to do it. So everyone's, the point is everyone's really helpful about it. So like you get there and they make it happen,
Well, it's funny because the way you say that, because when Jake and I first started this, and you can jump in anytime you want, Jake.
Of course.
It was just the two of us being goofy and talking about the Canucks at the time. And then one day I went, you know what, we should try to have a guest. So we just got on Twitter and started inviting people, and we were shocked at how easily people are like, oh yeah, I can come on for 15, 20 minutes, not a problem.
Yeah,
it literally blew our mind. So this last year and a half, would you say, Jake, was that about right?
Yeah, about that.
We've had guests at least every other week, every third week. We're trying to have a guest, and I think it's pretty cool the way people like yourself, people who are actually doing this at a different level than what Jake and I are doing, are taking the time to come and chat with us. I think it's so cool.
Well, and even, I mean, it was just fun. And I mean, it still is fun. The UFL news cycle, when we were kind of ramping up to the launch of the league, like there was a lot more we could do like every week of like, the schedule reveal and this going on. And that, like now, we put out the TV schedule, we're just kind of hanging out, but there was a lot more news. And so I loved it, because I would go on, I used to work in news. So, the USFL was getting sued because of the trademarks. Like I would call up Beverly Hill like IP lawyers, like, hey, do you want to come on the show and talk? Like, and they would come on, and like we would have them on once a month. Like we were like covering the case, and it was just fun for me, because I do miss that now, doing weddings and events and stuff. Like, I liked being in like the journalism like aspect of all of that, and like working with the reporters and doing that. So it kind of scratched the itch. But yeah, you just be amazed. You call up anyone. Like we had on like when they were getting ready to sue the USFL, like we had Steve Air. He's like, oh yeah, I'll come on and talk to you guys. And we're like, you're getting ready to sue. Like you shouldn't. And he's like, oh, I don't care. Like, I'll come on. You're like, there. I mean, but you just be amazed. Like people just say yes.
As I said to Jake, all they can do is say no.
Yeah.
Right. Now let's talk about the CFL, because it's been a weird, It's been a busy offseason with the teams.
Yeah.
But when you look at the head office or I guess the head office, it's been like a Twilight Zone. There's nobody there. Have you heard anything from like who's the commish? Usually we have our schedule by now.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything?
No, I mean, I've been tracking it through, I think Dave, Naylor's been tweeting stuff, and then 3 Down. I mean, to me, it seems weird, the timing of it with Randy and stepping down, but maintaining now. And you can tell that they want to wait till the new commissioner's out, right? Till we put the new schedule. But now, right, I've heard like, Toronto, they're like jockeying for days. Like, who knew all these CFL days? Like, no one wanted to host any of these games. And now it's like, oh, we got like Toronto. We got to get that extra 10% attendance or whatever. But like, they're jockeying and they're like, we're not doing Atlantic, or Pacific touchdown dates because, like, God forbid the CFL does, too many things. Like, because we already got to find a commissioner, right? So we can't do anything else, right? Like, that's what we're doing. I think that's weird. I mean, God, if it's that hot of a ticket, like MLSC sure doesn't make it seem that way at BMO Field that like, okay, well now we can't do an Atlantic game because like our attendance is going to dwindle. Like, I don't know. That seems weird. Yeah, it seems very interesting right now. I would like to be a fly on the wall there.
Well, it was funny because when I heard Toronto was the ones that kind of put the kibosh on the Atlantic, I was like, what, Toronto? You guys playing like not even a high school stadium right now. Come on. You would just the eyes on your team would be worth it.
Well, and I thought, we'll just do it back in, BC again. Do it and have them. And maybe Amara's like, okay, I'm kind of good now. We just hosted the Grey Cup, right? Maybe I don't want to drop another, whatever.
I spent a lot of money already.
Yeah, it was a ton of money, right? That was, and even like Dorothy that had been to the 4 Grey Cup, she's like, well, this is a lot bigger than any of the other, because obviously the first COVID one didn't really count, but like, Dorothy goes, this is way bigger. And so, maybe he doesn't want to do it, but I still think that's a shame. Like it's good to have when you have that long of a season, it's good to have tentpole events.
Well, it would be cool.
In
BC, they did it on the island. They could bring it into the Okanagan and do it in Kelowna.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I thought was going to happen. Maybe next 2026, they can do that. Who knows? Have you heard any names for the commish?
No. And I've been too locked out of Christmas breaks and end of the year stuff.
And it's funny because as soon as I got back from Grey Cup, I took off and went on a cruise, and then I got back, and as you know, we were going to have you on actually pre-Christmas, and the old man here got freaking pneumonia, and it was like, okay, I can't even talk. To do a show, and then of course Christmas and New Year's, right? But even like I follow all 3 Down Nation, Farhan, of course, and Farhan's been on the show. Nobody's saying anything, which is so weird to me.
Well, I don't know. Right, obviously they pushed Randy out, right? We had the numbers or whatever. And like, I don't know with the dynamics of how the commissioner works with the board of governors, all that. Like, I just don't know what you're trying to accomplish otherwise than Randy was doing, right? If you thought the profit should have been going up more, but like, I don't know. I think the US TV deal is insane, and I've ranted about that forever, but they're like, so I guess maybe anyone could do better than if we're saying that not a lot's been done, but I just don't. I think it's a pretty, thankless position. I think Randy was doing fine, but clearly nothing's really panned out, right, since COVID.
Well,
and this picks up.
And if you're pushing someone out, don't you think you would have a key candidate lined up? Like, and that's a big thing to me. Like, since this happens, like, okay, they have someone lined up. They have a name lined up, ready to go. And because it's taking so long, and I said it last week on the show here, I think it might be something to do with you have to wait till the end of the NFL season.
But then you're getting close to,
You're cutting things real close. But to me, it's one of those, okay, if you're not making an announcement last week or this week, like, even an announcement, hey, we've got big news coming, you're waiting for something. You're waiting either for all the I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed. You're waiting for a specific event to happen. And I don't know what those could be other than in the world of football, other than the NFL season coming to an end.
Well, and you might be getting like, the normal media people that would be digging into this on the CFL side are probably deep in, Farhan is at the Chiefs game and Naylor's at, and you get all these people at, and we're in the midst of the hockey season. We're like, I think that were this a different time of the schedule, maybe you would have more people that like had the resources really dive into that.
True.
We just had a big story come out with the Kraken, just with our coaching and just drama. And the podcast I listen to local is like, well, they probably get part of the story, but you're like national media, right? Like you're not in the Seattle Kraken locker room all the time because you're in Toronto or wherever, right? You're not coming to Seattle working on like a beat. It's the same thing, right? Like these people are probably doing other things right now, but it is weird. I mean, it's late, right? It's mid-January and you got to get a schedule coming out soon.
Well, usually we're second week in December, usually in that area.
It's usually, like last year, it was the week, I think, after the Grey Cup. And we were like, oh, wow, I don't think like we were going to do another episode for a while. And we're like, oh, shoot, I guess we got to do.
Well, yeah, because I remember it was before Christmas. I had to sit down and go through every game and kind of give that summation that I do when I get it. And I'm like, well, I hope I get it soon because holy crap, this season's going to start soon.
I think it's a lot tied into that, but it's, we were joking because we just got the UFL schedule, which kicks off end of March, like 2 weeks ago. And that was a joke of like, which one are we going to get first, the CFL schedule or the UFL schedule?
That's funny.
Yeah.
So the UFL kicks off in March. How long does it run for?
It kicks off, Friday, March 28th. It kicks off. It's a 10-week regular season, 8 teams, and then there's 2 playoff games, and then that championship game.
Oh, okay, cool. Now I see you're wearing your Washington Commanders hat.
I am, and my playoff shirt that just came today. There you go.
I did see your tweet about you've prayed about days like
yes.
I guess it was Sunday.
Yeah,
you're obviously a Commander fan.
It's been exciting. Yeah, quite the season. So yeah, pretty happy about it. We have a lot of Bears fans mad at us in our our Twitter feeds and stuff.
Yeah, well, they'll get over it. Yeah. Awesome. Jake, do you got anything else?
Nothing I can think of. Honestly, I've been it's been so hard just because I've been so disconnected from the CFL the last little bit because there has been so little news. That if this was the start of the season or middle of the season, I'd have all sorts of ready to go fire questions. And
let's be honest, you get so involved in the freaking useless stats of the NHL that takes up all your brain space.
But it does.
Jake's the stat guy. I'm the anti-stat guy. Show me wins or losses. That's the only stat you need.
That's good. What was that a couple weeks ago, that Sunday game? 3rd team NHL team ever to come back from being 4 goals down, right? And 5 minutes left or whatever. The Kraken against the Canucks. That was
wild.
I thought we would be able to get
That was like
through.
The highlight of the season. We've been really bad. So that was like the highlight of the season.
I was like, we're going to get through this, and he's not going to mention the Kraken comeback.
But that's just the way the Canucks season has gone this year. It's like,
I've heard you guys have all.
We can play great for a period, maybe a period and a half,
or we can just not play and show up in Winnipeg and go, oh yeah, you guys can score as many goals as you want. Go ahead.
We gave up 4 goals in the first 8 minutes against Detroit on Saturday and had our goalie pulled. 8 minutes in, 4 goals.
Jesus. What was the final score the other night? 6-1 for Winnipeg.
That was last night.
Winnipeg. Yeah, we go to Winnipeg tomorrow, so we'll be we're the
Winnipeg's such a good team this year.
They're really good. We took them. I think we took them to overtime when they played us. We played them really early in the season when we actually had our heads on, and then I think we took them to overtime and lost. But I do not expect the same result tomorrow night.
Well, see, I think the Kraken got the short end of the stick. You look at freaking Vegas; they got everything effing handed to them, and then more. And then Kraken came in the next year or the year after.
No, it was like 4 years later. Yeah, it was.
Was it really that much later?
It was quite Vegas a few years. Is in like year 8. It might have been 3 or 4 years later. Yeah.
And I remember when everything settled and we were told the Kraken was coming in. I'm a Vancouver guy. I grew up in Vancouver. I used to go down to Seattle International Raceway on a regular basis with my older brothers. the only way they could go is if they took the younger brother. So I always got to tag along. But I remember when Seattle was getting their team and they kind of put out how it's going to work. And I was like, well, how is this fair compared to what Vegas got?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. We got hamstrung with the draft a lot. And then our GM, who's going to be gone at the end of the year, has done a really poor job managing.
You think he's going to be gone at the end of the year?
Yeah. We're the third highest spent roster this year, and we're a bottom 5 record team.
Yeah. So you can see the owners wanting to make a change.
Yeah. Because we got Montour from the Panthers, which has been a great signing, but we got Chandler Stevenson from Vegas, and that has been a noose around. And everyone knew the second that it was signed, they're like, this is not going to be good. And he just has been quite poor.
Quite poor. I love the way he's been crappy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Reid, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and chat for a little bit. We appreciate it. And we'll probably reach out when the season gets going and have you back on to discuss this upcoming season. And we will definitely see you in Winnipeg.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Excellent. Where can people find you before you go?
Everything is at the MarkCast.com. And you can just, you can search, YouTube or anything else, but the MarkCast.com has links to everything.
And if you have to ask why it's the MarkCast, you're not a wrestling fan.
You're not a wrestling fan. That's true. Yeah. Name's not Mark. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Awesome. That was awesome. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Got
to learn a lot. And like you said, everyone is so wanting to come on and talk and discuss everything. Whether it comes to UFL, CFL, hockey of any type, wrestling, sprinkle a little bit of that in,
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even get into that. I should have got into that with Reid, that he's going to go to Vegas.
I was going to say, we already took up 25 plus minutes of his time after asking for 15. So
it was like, okay. And I tried to let him go, and then he wanted to talk hockey for a while. So
which is fine.
Speaking of talking hockey.
Do
we have to talk hockey?
Well, before we talk hockey, why don't we not only say thanks to Reid of the MarkCast for joining the show tonight, but also let's thank SeatGeek.com for sponsoring the show tonight. SeatGeek.com is your place to go get seats, whether you want to go watch a wrestling event in your city, a hockey team, a football team, no matter the league, you can find them at SeatGeek.com. When you're at SeatGeek.com, it's great because you're able to tell whether you're getting a good deal, a great deal, or probably not a good deal. Very easy, intuitive design. When you look at the stadium, the theater, whatever you are looking at, the high school gymnasium, if you're watching an indie pro wrestling show, you can see if you're getting a good deal. Green means good. Yellow means okay. Red means probably a bad deal.
Could I interrupt? I know you usually go on, but I'm going to interrupt you. So if there happens to be a wrestling production coming to Calgary in March, and a guy named Matt Cardone was the feature on the card, we could go to SeatGeek.com and actually get our tickets through there?
Most of the time, yes.
Nice.
You can go to SeatGeek.com. And if it's your first time using SeatGeek.com, you can use HSP Pod to receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. So you're already getting great deals because you know what color seats are that you're picking. But you save $20 off that first ticket purchase as well using code HSP Pod. Also helps support the show, keeps us doing what we're doing, and hopefully doing more and more in the future as we keep growing. Thank you so much to SeatGeek.com for sponsoring today's show. All right, old man, I'm going to need your attention back now.
Okay. Well, you just go on and on and on and on ad nauseum.
Because it is now time to discuss the good news from the Canucks.
What good news?
Hronek is back. He's skating. Not just is he skating with the team, but he's good enough to play. Flew him out to Winnipeg.
Yeah, because that really helped us.
Hey, look.
That just helped us immensely.
We can talk about semantics. Having Hronek on this team on paper makes this team, especially on the defensive end, better. Because you know who's not playing? You know who's not playing 27 minutes a night?
Hughes.
Tyler Myers.
Oh. That's
No,
true.
Hughes will always play 27 minutes a night. Since we've last been on the air, the Canucks have gone 1 win. A fantastic win, I might add, against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, didn't we
Hockey Night in Canada. Shut them out.
Yeah.
Fantastic win. 3-0 win in a great effort. And then sandwiched, that win is kind of in the middle of 2 terrible games. And that has been the story of this team. I look back. Do you know when the last time we won 2 games in a row was? Just 2. Not a streak, just 2.
Sorry, I'm mailing in the rest of the podcast because that's what the Canucks did.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I would say probably we have to go way back. I'm going to say probably in October.
You're close. November.
I was going to say November, and I'm going to go one more month just to make sure.
It's been November. It's been November since we've won more than 2 games. No, 2 games in a row. We've won 1, lost 1, won 1, lost 1, lost, 1, lost 1. Like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely insane.
The reason that you see me looking at my phone, I'm actually in an argument. I'm arguing with somebody on Facebook. I know.
I need your focus here.
No,
I need your
they're wrong,
argumentative
Jake.
focus here.
Jake, they're wrong, and it's Facebook, and they're wrong.
Well, I know you're a boomer, and that means you have to tell them that they're wrong, and it kills you. It kills you for every second that you haven't told them they're wrong.
He said Canucks' biggest problem is they have a horrible defense. That's their biggest problem.
That is the biggest problem.
That's not the biggest freaking problem. You tweeted the biggest freaking problem. What's the biggest freaking problem? When is the last time this team has had more than 30 shots?
I don't know.
We
The last
went
time
15 damn games.
I do know that we have the lowest shots per game.
That's not a defensive problem.
So our biggest issue lineup wise in the defensive end. What that means is you're not playing in the offensive end a lot because your forwards are having to fucking cover for the defensemen who can't make a pass for the life of them.
I would love to see, and you could look this up as I'm talking, what for the last 10 games, what our offense and defensive possession is. Because I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I bet you we're more offensive than we are defensive possession. Our problem is we can't shoot the puck on the net. And when we do get shots, it's from the blue line. It's Hughes doing his Hughesy mania thing.
Which I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's a great thing. He's freaking every time I see that kid touch the puck, I literally I lean forward because I know something exciting is going to happen. We need to make a trade. We need to shake things up.
So that was going to lead into my next question.
Your girlfriend, Jake, coming in with the stats. I know, and I asked him for it this time.
I am trying to find the stats here. It's not as easy as you think it would be.
So as you're looking for those stats, you say, what does this team need to do to turn it around?
Okay, sorry. So this is for the entire season. The offensive zone, we're in the 42.9% of the time at all strengths. If we just look at even strengths, we're 42.7%.
I mean, that's not bad.
Which is in the 80th percentile.
Yes.
We're in the defensive zone 39.5, which is basically average. And we're in the neutral zone below average.
I think our problem is, for whatever reason, and you're going to love me for saying this, for whatever reason it is, there's no chemistry amongst this team.
I wonder why that is. I
don't.
I know.
And if I hear one more person talk about this stupid drama with Petey and Miller, that's not our problem.
No, well, it is. You're asking a question, and then the valid answer is, who's the emotional leader on this team?
It's Hughes.
No, it is not Hughes. Hughes is not the emotional leader of this team.
Okay, emotional. Okay, sorry, I missed the word emotional.
The emotional leader.
Miller. Without a doubt, it's Miller.
It's JT Miller. When we're doing great, everyone's feeding off his energy. Could it also be happening? Could it also be happening? No. Could it also be happening backwards? JT Miller's in a shitty mood. He's not just putting out vibes. He's now taking away the energy. Oh, if I'm having a bad day, everyone's having a bad day.
Maybe. You know what? And I've been really pushing what you're saying. And it's, yeah, see, you just read Trent's freaking comment. Shut up, Trent. You don't know hockey. You barely know football anymore. Holy, I remember our Trent one time who would like stay home to watch a football game. Very disappointed. Anyway, I have been pushing your saying. I keep telling people, my son has a saying, great teams don't trade their best players.
Yeah.
So don't trade them. Who do we trade then? You got Höglander?
You have JT Miller you can trade.
Let me finish. You got Höglander, and let's take that guy that absolutely drives me cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in the back of our team, Mr. Myers, and see what we can get for those two.
Okay, so you're going to get back a similar player to Höglander and a similar player to Myers who makes mistakes. Like, you're not upgrading anything with those types of players.
But do we have to get two? Can we go for like a Cousins for that?
No, not even close. Are you throwing in a first round pick?
No, but you can throw in a prospect.
Which prospect do you want to get rid of? Tom Willander? One of the best prospects we've had in years. How about Jonathan LeCaramac, who's actually been playing on our team? How about EPD?
No.
Okay, so you don't want to trade away any of our top prospects.
Okay,
you want to trade away a guy who I'm pretty sure has no movement clause.
Who?
Tyler Myers.
Well,
who the reason he took a sweetheart of a deal to stay in Vancouver is because of off ice things.
Then you tell me, Mr.
I don't think Myers is the problem.
My dog thinks his name is effing Myers.
Well, that's just because you blame him for everything.
Did you stop moving? Your camera just went really blurry. That would really freak me out. Don't do that anymore. I don't know what you did. That was really weird.
It's called autofocus on the camera, so I just moved out of its focus range, probably.
Myers causes us more grief than...
Does he, or do you just think he does?
Edler, Myers.
Edler is like the second best defenseman this team has ever had, behind only Quinn Hughes.
I'm never wrong. You have to realize this.
Ugh.
When it comes to defensemen that I hate, I'm never wrong. What are you looking up now?
I'm looking up time on ice because it's something that was brought to my attention earlier today.
More damn stats. I shouldn't have got them. See, now, folks, I have to carry the show because
Who do you think had more ice time last game? And I know you weren't able to watch a lot of the game.
No, I wasn't, unfortunately. I was.
Who do you think had more ice time? Just off of...
Out of who? Like, just...
Out of JT Miller, Pia Suter, and Kiefer Sherwood.
Sherwood had more ice time than the Miller.
Who had more ice time between Pia Suter and JT Miller?
Suter.
Yeah.
And I know that because I was reading an article about it, how Miller wasn't getting a lot of ice time.
14 minutes. Under 15 minutes.
And when asked, Tocchet said there was other players that would deserve more ice time.
Power play 1 comes over the boards the first time. Who's in his spot? Jonathan LeCaramac. You know what this team is doing? Either A, Miller's hurt and he's trying to play through something. I don't believe that for a second. After taking as much time off as he did, to come back still hurt. Or they're seeing if they can succeed in a system where JT Miller is not available to them.
I'm really impressed that you can just ignore what I do over here.
Literally, I said it last night while watching the game when when JT Miller wasn't on the ice for the first power play,
Yeah.
on the first power play unit, is they're seeing if they can live life without JT Miller.
Or is he hurt?
Then why is he playing? If you're hurt to the degree where you're playing fourth line minutes,
Yeah, but a fourth line JT Miller is better than
no, it is not.
A fourth line. No, it's not.
No, it's not. He got 6 seconds more than Jonathan Lekaramaki in that game.
So
only had one more shot. Like,
then
it's
I'm
not
going
like-
to throw it to you.
yes.
I'm going to click this button over here. And
I think you need to show this team that that management is serious, and you need to make a big trade.
okay, we know that. It's
either JT Miller or
for the last 4 weeks, you have been ranting and raving. Every time I say it, you say
no.
great teams do not change. Do not trade the two best players.
No. Let's go back and re-listen every time I say it. Every time you say the statement, you say we're going to trade one of Elias Pettersson or JT Miller, and I say good teams don't trade elite players, and that's why you do not trade Elias Pettersson. I've never said that about JT Miller. JT Miller is a 31-year-old who's on the down side of his career, who has never thrown consistent seasons together. Look at the stats. Look at the goals.
What do we get a Cousins for a JT Miller?
I think you'd get Cousins plus for a JT Miller. I think you could.
Who does Cousins play for? Refresh my memory. I'm blank.
My brain is not working right now.
Me neither. Buffalo? No.
I think so. Buffalo.
Will Miller go there?
Who knows?
Like the only team I've heard that he would go to was New York.
And Mika Zibanejad has the one player that you'd be trading for on the Rangers has kiboshed that trade.
Right?
So you either need to get another team involved to be able to make the cap work and players involved. You could, like, in all reality, if you're who's got a lot of cap space? My brain is going completely blank. I was looking at this earlier today.
Probably you look at a team like Utah. You probably still have a lot of cap space.
The Blue Jackets or the Flames?
Oh.
The Flames have $17 million of cap space.
How much?
Projected cap space, $17.76 million.
You're not going to trade Miller to the Flames.
Why?
Who are you going to get?
I'm not saying JT Miller goes to the Flames. I'm saying you bring in a third team to be able to get pieces back that are going to come. Rasmus Andersson, a top 4 right shot defenseman. Does that sound like a need?
Yeah.
Who can move the puck and score?
But the Flames are in a playoff spot.
Yeah, that won't last. That is all smoke and mirrors based off of the back of Dustin Wolf's immaculate season, which, no, he should not be up for Calder Trophy. He's a goalie who is splitting the season. He should maybe get a pat on the back and a good job in your first season, but he is not Rookie of the Year. Look at what Celebrini's doing down in San Jose. Flames fans, just calm down. But you can look at the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets have a lot of great pieces. Miller, why wouldn't you want to go to a team that has cap space and potential?
Yeah.
Okay, if JT Miller says the only place I'm going is to New York, okay, now we got to get creative. Make it a 3-way trade, 4-way trade.
And the thing is, time's running like, yes, I know the trade deadline doesn't happen till March.
Well, but then the league basically shuts down for 2 weeks in the middle of February for the Four Nations Cup.
Can they still be trades during that time?
Yes, there's not. Do not believe that there's a roster freeze. I don't know that for certain, but the way everyone is talking is to assume that there is no roster freeze.
Yeah. I don't know what D's talking about. So,
Wolf?
I know. Okay, now
Dustin Wolf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got the thumbs up.
there's a lot of pieces that can be done with this Canucks team, but the Canucks need to decide what they are.
So let's just, for shit and giggles,
Giggles and shits.
Miller and PD are off the table because we can't trade them.
Okay.
We can't make a trade happen. Where else do we go?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, because this is what?
I said I knew you would be.
I'm glad you asked. So there is a unrestricted free agent that I don't think a lot of Canucks fans would like to see traded.
Nope.
He has scored 40 goals last year, 18 goals the year before, 23. He's on pace for my rough math here, 30 odd goals if he was to play a full season this year. Who would fetch a pretty penny?
Who?
Brock Besser.
See, I knew you were going to.
Look, this core has had 6 years together.
Yes. And they haven't done
6
squat.
years.
1 second round.
Yeah, which was great.
That was it.
Again, it sounded like I was being sarcastic. No, that's great. 100%. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what have you followed it up with?
Nothing. This season where I want to put my head through the wall most nights.
Don Taylor and Rick Dollywall, Donnie and Dolly on Check TV.
We have to get him on.
They
Good
do
luck with that.
a segment called The Crossover with Canucks Talk on Sportsnet 650.
Mm-hmm.
And Don Taylor brought this up today, and it's something that, as I was driving home, really kind of stuck with me. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's terrifying. When Jim Benning took over the team, that was the year the Canucks lost to the Flames in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
The year after that, they were scrapping and clawing, trying to make
A playoff spot.
the playoff spot. And then we went 4 years without making a playoff spot.
Yeah.
The lessons learned from ownership is that, well, we got beat by Boston right before Jim Benning came in. Jim Benning was part of Boston. They obviously know what they're doing, but clearly we all know the rumors and substantiated reports that ownership likes to meddle. Cool. We get rid of Benning, dark era of the franchise's history. Patrick Alvin and Jim Rutherford come in and probably in the most unprofessional way handle Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah.
We forget about that a lot. We don't talk about it a lot, but there have been a lot of good things that this management team has done. But they have also signed Vincent Desharnais, who to a 2-year contract. I think we could put him on waivers right now and no one would pick him up.
Yes.
Signed JT Miller to a long-term contract. Then signed Elias Pettersson to a long-term contract, despite knowing the fact that both of these players do not like each other and have had issues with each other every single year, except for the year that they were winning a whole bunch. Of course, winning solves all your problems.
Yes. Pretty simple.
There's a lot of similarities and parallels to what Jim Benning did in his first year to what this management team has done here.
Oh, I see where you're going. I was trying to figure out where you were going, and
There's
sometimes I try, and other times I just give up. It's like I'm
There's-
not even going to try to think where he's going.
there's scary parallels, and we're very early into the Jim Rutherford, Patrick Alvin tenure here. I don't think it's going to be a 2-3 seasons and they're gone.
How long have we?
2 years, 2.5 years.
Yeah, okay.
Rick Tocchet will be at the end of January. It'll be two full years for Rick Tocchet.
Right. Where are you going with this?
The only thing I'm thinking is that this organization, the core group of players needs to be shaken up.
Okay.
If Patrick Alvin or Jim Rutherford can't get ownership to agree with that, how long until we need to start talking that ownership is still meddling in business, despite there being a second layer between hockey operations and ownership? with Jim Rutherford being there, because that was a lot of the issues with Jim Benning was, well, ownership won't let me do this. Ownership's known to meddle. The Aquilinis want to win a cup, and the Aquilinis don't want to win a cup. The Aquilinis want to make playoff revenue.
Yes. Well, of course they do. They're not in this because they love the sport.
I think you
They're
need
in
to
it
have
make money.
Of course they are. Well,
you got Doman over in BC. He's in it because he loves the CFL.
But the problem
does
is,
he want to make money? Of course he does.
Of course,
he's going to lose money because he's who he is.
But isn't that like that in the CFL? Of course. The problem that I think the Aquilini ownership, specifically Francesco, has is that he wants to be hanging out with the players. He wants to be seen as a celebrity with the players. He's not an owner who just wants to make money. He wants to be involved because he wants to feel like he's doing something important.
Okay. That's one man's opinion.
Well, it's not just my opinion. It's the opinion of people who are...
It's one man's opinion.
More in the know.
But I got a question for you.
Yes.
Every week you come in and you type away before we go on air.
Yep.
You always tell me how much work you do, and you're doing it like 2 minutes before we go on air.
Well, to be fair, this week I did not do a lot of work. I was watching Squid Game until like 10 minutes before the show.
So you got this here. Which UFAs get traded?
Yep.
What kind of... Are you smoking?
UFA, unrestricted free agents?
But you put Kevin Lankinen in there.
I literally put every single one of our UFAs in there.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like saying we should trade Kevin Lankinen.
No, God, no. This team, could you imagine where this team would be if we weren't able to sign Kevin
I'm
Lankinen?
gonna reach through here and I'm going to backhand you.
No. These are just the UFAs that we have. So following Brock Besser, there's not really a lot of UFAs to trade.
You're not going to trade Suter.
Well, if you're trading Besser, depends on what you get back.
Well, yeah, right?
Right? Like if you look at Brock Besser, if you look at this team and say, okay, you know what, we're going to be happy to just make the playoffs this year, but we're building for next year, and you trade Brock and you get pieces, I'm not even thinking, but you say you get a right shot defenseman and a prospect.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now Pia Suter is basically untradeable because he's now in your top 6.
Yes.
You don't have another piece to move up there unless you're moving a Jonathan Lekkerimäki up there.
I was going to say, you've got Lekkerimäki.
Yeah, which I'm okay with, but that's not a team that's going to make a run in the playoffs. And that's just because of experience, like just how young he is. Phil DiGiuseppe isn't going to get you a lot, if anything. Derek Forbort, that's been a questionable signing to begin with.
Yes.
And then you've got Kevin Lankinen, where if you traded him, you better be getting a number 1 goalie back.
Yeah.
So the reason I put that there is right after, what does this team need to do to turn it around? Because I knew it would evolve into trades. And if you're not trading PD or Miller, the only option you have on this list that's going to make an impact on the team and get you a return that you need without dipping into your prospect pool and your top end prospect pool is Brock Besser.
What about Höglander? What up?
Höglander's
Hoagie.
I
doubt he has a do not trade move. Like he probably couldn't get that.
No, he's definitely movable. Here, let me pull up. I have.
So I know he's not a UFA. That I know that's not.
Yeah,
You're going with Brock Besser. I get he's a UFA. Will we sign him? Will we be able to sign him? Will he want out?
And what's going to cause this team to go, oh shit, maybe we do need to start figuring our shit out?
Well, yeah, Hoagie would be another one of those.
I don't think the way he's like the minimized role he's had this year, I don't know if it's that same impact it would have been 2-3 years ago.
Am I wrong in not saying that Hughes and Besser are like 2 peas in a pod? They're really good friends.
I don't know that.
I'm pretty positive I saw a segment in one of the intermissions about it.
Fair. I usually
If they
turn
go to
mute
trade
on.
a Besser, does Hughes step in and say, haha, no, I don't want you to trade my best friend. What are you doing? Does that kind of
Maybe.
thing happen?
I'm sure it happens, but I'm sure it's also one of those you're going to your captain first and say, "Hey, there's going to be backlash about this.
Yes.
Be prepared for it. We're making the move." And I don't know if it's, "Hey, don't do that." It's going to be more of a, "Okay, that upsets me."
Yeah.
But it's business. Sometimes shit happens, right? Like, yeah, we'd all love to be playing with our best friends, but that's not possible. If that was the case, Miller would have been off this team a long time ago.
No doubt. No doubt.
It's a frustrating spot to be in because we should be watching the playoff race, and like we're out of a playoff position.
Well, do you remember beginning of the season? We had the friend of the show, Mr. Matt Sakaris on.
Yep.
And we were talking about how great it is. We're not talking about, oh, we need to make a trade, blah, 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 and oh, horrible shit. And now I took my flag down. And I did it on purpose. I'm taking a stand. I think I'll become a Kraken fan. What do you think? They're just down the road.
I think that's the quickest way of getting voted out of the family and off of the podcast.
What about becoming a Flames fan?
Again, very quick way to be getting kicked out of the family and voted off the podcast.
Be careful now. Your girlfriend's a Flames fan.
She's also a Canucks fan.
If she had to choose between the Canucks and the Flames, if we're playing each other in a playoff game series, who do you think she's going to vote for?
To be fair, we've already had the conversation of if our kids are not Canucks fans, I am disowning them.
Wow, you guys are having kids already? Woo!
God no.
There's something you need to tell me.
God no.
Let's do it on the air.
I'm just being just very forthright with her. I also told her that she can't get pregnant in a time where the playoffs might be happening because Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Look, that's only a once in a lifetime situation.
We're gonna have another kid. Oh my goodness me! I've raised a lunatic. I blame his mother, folks.
But looking at the playoff race,
we're out.
We're out of tied with the same amount of games played. The Flames have 1 point up on us.
I can't believe you're saying that. Like it just
comparative to last year, where we were comfortably in first place in the Pacific at this point.
Yeah. What changed?
Let's see. You got rid of Ian Clark, goaltending coach. You've had a career-altering, potentially injury to a Vezina caliber goalie.
Yeah.
I'm scared to look at the chat that just came in. I blame you, old man. I do too. Your defensive end is worse than it was last year. Substantially worse than it was last year. And you're playing a boring style of hockey.
Well, I think, if you want my opinion,
sometimes we want it here.
You got rid of a defenseman. You let two people walk. Did you not? Am I wrong?
No, yeah, I believe you did let two people walk.
Who were they?
Elias Lindholm.
Yes.
And
Zadorov.
I was trying to think of his first name, and I can't think of his first name. Nikita Zadorov.
Zadorov. Zadorov had that way of exciting the crowd, which also excited the team, whether that was a big hit or rush from the behind his net all the way down the ice and score. Yep. He had that unique whatever that it factor was. Lindholm, I would say that he added something. Is it because we let those two go? Like, that's really the biggest change, besides the fact that we've been freaking plagued with injury after injury after injury after injury after injury this year.
I would agree with you if we had a full season of both of them.
Right?
We traded for them last year.
We did.
Like at this point of the year last year, we did not have Elias Lindholm on the team. I think it was later this week, like later in January, that we made that trade.
It was.
It was in December that we made the trade
For
Zadorov.
It was.
You can take a look at Zadorov's stats when he was with the Flames and they were playing good hockey.
Yeah.
And when he was playing bad, they were playing bad hockey. Even look at him playing in Boston this year where they're having a very middling season.
Yeah.
He's not that player. He's a guy who feeds off the vibes.
Yes.
And the vibes in that locker room, he feeds on the vibes and turns them up.
Yes.
Right? You're feeling good. He goes out there. He makes that big hit. Everyone's feeling it.
Yes.
The vibes have been off for this team since the very beginning of this season.
And I don't...
Whether it's Demko's injury, Dakota Joshua's cancer diagnosis, the departure of Ian Clark, whether it's
Miller taking a personal leave.
not even that. Maybe Miller's just been in a shitty mood because he's been injured. PD and Miller going at each other. That's got to bring the room down.
But they've been going at each other since day one. Like, this isn't new.
But it's not, but it's something worth talking about. I know you hate talking about it.
Oh, I'm so tired of talking about it.
But the fact that Rick Tocchet after the game in his media availability, he said he's had to focus on so much other stuff that he hasn't been able to do things. What other stuff is he talking about?
I think
does he have too much paperwork on his desk?
I think that's just excuses because they're not effing winning. Put a 7-game winning streak together and all those effing problems go away.
No,
I am
don't.
so tired of hearing PD.
A 7-game win streak still probably doesn't put us in a solid playoff position.
No, probably not.
Like that's a hole we've dug ourselves.
Better mood.
It would, but the core problems on this team still exist despite a few win streaks.
We need to make some changes.
Does Rick Tocchet come back next year? Does Rick Tocchet make it to the end of the season? And does he come back next year?
Yes.
Because he has an option to leave. It's his option.
He won the Coach of the Year last year. That's usually a death sentence. Right? I mean, go look at the history of the Coach of the Years. I didn't mean real. You don't have to take me like verbatim every time I say something. Folks, we've been on the air for an hour and 2 minutes. And probably 55 of those minutes, Jake has been staring off into space.
No,
Nobody knows what you're staring at. The camera's here.
Says the guy who's like this for half the show. I don't have the stat the when they got fired. I think they should really add that to the Wikipedia page.
Thank goodness. Whew,
but
well,
it's very.
I think we both can agree something needs to effing happen.
And the worst part is I don't know what it is. There's too many different options you can go with, but something needs to change with this team.
We'd be super rich if we could push the easy button and make it happen.
Yeah, it'd be nice. But
did you notice?
The fact that you took down your flag?
No, the mascot.
What mascot? We don't have a mascot on the show.
Everybody that watches the show knows that the toucan is our mascot. I don't know why you won't accept it.
We don't have a mascot on the show. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Boom, boom. Mascot.
Do you have anything else for the show that's productive?
Mascot.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 101 of the Hughes Sports Podcast. We thank you so much for tuning in. You can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, hit the share button, share it with your friends and family. Follow us on YouTube, Blue Skies, Twitter at HSP Pod. Blue Skies, it's HS Pod. HS Pod. You can follow me everywhere at JStreams, JEH Streams. The old man, you can follow him on Blue Skies and Twitter or X or whatever it is you want to call it at Old Man HSP. Anything else?
I should check my Blue Sky account. I could be having people message me and I don't know.
Yeah, you could be a Blue Skies influencer and you don't even know.
Look, right there. Our fans love the toucan.
Do Saskatchewan fans really count as fans?
It's our fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more of the toucan,
tune in next week.
No. Tweet at us, because I know some people don't know how to use social media. Tweet at us and say hashtag free the toucan.
Free the toucan. I like it. I'm going to start it right now.
And until next week, everyone, have yourselves a wonderful week. Hopefully we'll have some happy Canucks news and maybe a CFL schedule by now.